Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly fires back after the U.S. Defense Secretary threatens to censure him and reduce his military benefits. Also tonight, we'll hear what public health advocates are looking for from the upcoming legislative session and how consumers can protect themselves from online products made with artificial intelligence. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Senator Mark Kelly today reacted to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who accused Kelly of, quote, seditious acts for appearing in a video reminding military service members that they're obligated to refuse illegal orders. Hegseth also issued a formal letter of censure that will be entered into Kelly's permanent personnel file, which could lead to a reduction of Kelly's retirement rank and pension. Kelly retired from the Navy as a captain in 2011. His response today to Hegseth's actions?
Thank you. Thanks for coming out here. Let me just say a couple things up front. So in November, mid-November, myself and 5 colleagues, we did a video saying something pretty basic. You don't follow illegal orders. Means to follow the law. It's in the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Donald Trump didn't like it, said we should be hanged, executed. When I guess that didn't work out, for me personally, prosecuted under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So then yesterday, I received this letter that censures me and threatens to reduce me in rank after 25 years in the United States Navy, flying 39 combat missions, 4 times in space, decades in service, threatening to reduce my rank, so demote me because of something I said, something that was clearly lawful. Also something, by the way, that Secretary Hegseth has said on multiple occasions back in 2016. So this is certainly the height of hypocrisy. I think it's also important to point out that in this letter, where you might have thought it was just about the video, we find out it's not just about the video that we made. This is also about other things I've said. Like, they think I don't have the right to criticize them when they fire admirals and generals. It is specifically in here on the first page. And to say that they have surrounded themselves with a bunch of yes men, I think that's a fact, especially in the White House. So this is over an extended period of time that they want to make it perfectly clear that I am not allowed to say what I think. And that's dangerous. Every other retired service member, like me, or every veteran, every active duty service member, maybe every U.S. citizen is going to say, hey, if they can criticize and stop, a United States senator from doing his job in speaking out, what does that mean for the rest of us? So this is really concerning. We're going to do what we can and, fight this with, every tool that we have. But this is what Secretary Hegseth did in sending this letter is an erosion of every U.S. citizen's First Amendment rights.
But aren't you likely to lose this fight with the Secretary?
Well, first of all, this is a letter he sent, goes in my record. We'll respond to that. I don't think I'm going to lose a, fight with him, but that's not the point. The point is that they're trying to shut me up, and that's not going to happen. So whether I win or lose this, that's not the consequential thing. The consequential thing is, do Americans still, speak out against this government? I view that not only as a right, but a responsibility, especially in my job on the Armed Services Committee. I have oversight responsibility for the Department of Defense. I sit on the Intelligence Committee. So whether I lose or win this fight, we're gonna fight this with everything we have, because I'm certainly in the right here. I said something that I believed, that was lawful, that was true. This White House's response is I should be executed.
There are 5 other lawmakers who were on that video with you, but you were the only one who has been targeted like this so far from Secretary Hegseth. Do you think that the same treatment is coming for your fellow lawmakers? Why do you think you've been singled out?
Well, it's a, it's one of the details of this is that I'm retired, so it's easier for them to target me because I'm a retired member of the military. So.
What are the tools at your disposal? You mentioned you're going to use all of them. What are they?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are things that I can do. I'm discussing that with my attorneys, and we'll have a response at the appropriate time.
Are you getting support from your colleagues in the Senate and other veterans? Are you getting any support?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm hearing from veterans, all the time. Just this morning, I was up in New York doing the CBS morning show, and as I walked in the door, one of the security guys just said, hey, I was talking to my son about this just yesterday, and he wanted to pass on, if I ever saw you, to thank you. Because this means a lot to him in his position. The guy was an intel officer in the Army, in the Signal Corps. And I hear that repeatedly. I also hear it from some of my Senate colleagues, sometimes on the other side of the aisle, sometimes publicly, sometimes not publicly.
Kelly emphasized his defiance of the Defense Secretary's actions and motives.
I don't think I'm going to lose a, fight with him, but that's not the point. The point is that they're trying to shut me up, and that's not going to happen. Let me make it perfectly clear. This letter or anything that Pete Hegseth says or does to me is in no way going to affect the way I do my job and represent my constituents in the United States Senate. Ain't happening. So, his option, right now is he can continue with this kind of bullshit or he can go take a hike. That's his options.
Kelly has 30 days to submit a response to Hegseth's charges. The retirement grade determination process will be completed within 45 days.
Permafrost is melting,
The ground exploded.
releasing planet-warming gases.
There's a huge amount of methane and natural gas trapped in the permafrost.
What will it mean for our climate? Arctic sinkholes on Nova.
Wednesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
Hi, this is Terry calling.
Sorry for bothering you on
No
Mother's Day.
worries. I'm without children. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. I have hummingbirds.
In Hollywood, one woman helps injured hummingbirds back to the wild.
It's okay. You're safe. Their lives depend on me.
Yes. Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
The LA firestorm was one of many recent fire disasters causing unprecedented destruction. Now these tragic fires seem inevitable. But does it have to be that way? I'm Maya May, the host of PBS's Weathered, and I'm on a journey to understand the aftermath of the LA firestorm, how we're facing this moment of extreme change, and how we can prevent the next tragedy before it's too late.
Wednesday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
We're hearing from advocates of various issues this week to learn about what they're looking for from the state legislature this upcoming session. Last night, we heard from business interests. Tonight, the focus is on public health. And joining us now is Will Humble, Executive Director of the Arizona Public Health Association. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us yet again.
Sure. Thanks, Ted. My pleasure.
All right. What are you looking for from the legislature this session?
Well, the usual silliness. And every year, there are bills that lots of bills that are good for public health and lots of bills that would be bad for public health. And so the approach that I take is to really look at the bills as they get proposed, and there's several that were pre-filed already, and then sort through those and figure out where's the most value added for me. So like at the Arizona Public Health Association, we don't actually go forward and try to run bills. Rather, what I try to do is find the good bills and find those that need a boost, especially those that don't have a paid contract lobbyist with big, expensive Italian shoes,
right.
running them. Find those bills and help them go get along the line, and then push back on bills that are bad for public health, and we can give some examples.
Yeah, I do have some examples for you here coming up. But as far as what you want to see and the bills you would like to see pushed and pursued, an example, what are some of the subjects you'd like to see addressed?
So one of the areas I've been focusing on the last few years is residential and community treatment for persons with serious mental illnesses. A big and I think under-recognized cause of homelessness and the heat deaths that we see in the summer are linked to the lack of housing, permanent supported housing for folks with serious mental illnesses, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, those sorts of things. So trying to build the inventory of residential options for persons with a serious mental illness. So those are the kind of niche issues that I like to grab onto, because they're often bills that legislators propose. There's not an entity or lobbyist working it, but rather a lawmaker sees a need for something and then starts pursuing a good bill like that. So I try to help things like that get across the line.
Is there anything the legislature can do regarding ACA premiums and that particular issue?
I don't.
There's nothing. It doesn't.
I don't think so.
On a state level, there's really nothing they can do, is there?
No. I mean, there's the Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions. They could tweak some regulations and stuff, but
what about?
No. Actually, the answer is no.
Yeah. What about healthcare costs in general?
Not much. It's really not a lot they can do. I mean, you can nibble on the edges with state laws, but so much of that is federal. I just don't see that's a big effort.
You mentioned pre-filed bills. Let's talk about a couple of them here. One of them wants to ban fluoride in drinking water. That's
Senator Schamp's bill.
Yeah, that issue has come back yet again. Your thoughts?
So it's up to cities right now. So City of Phoenix puts fluoride in their water. Tucson doesn't. Most of the valley cities actually do add a little bit of fluoride to the water to make it optimal. I mean, people get fluoride from their toothpaste and those kinds of things. And so you look at that and sort of calibrate how much fluoride's in the water. So cities can do it if they want to, but they don't have to do it. And this would be a bill that says, cities, you can't add fluoride to your drinking water anymore.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a no.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work against that. If it gets through, Governor Hobbs will veto it, but it's still worth putting in the effort up front to say why it's bad so people get the message and the idea. So I spent a little time on those kinds of things on defense.
From a public health perspective, there's a bill to raise speed limits in rural areas. Your thoughts?
So now it depends on the details of that bill. So it's limited. I believe it would be limited to I-8.
I believe that's true.
Eloy and Yuma.
Okay, but does that make a difference where it would be?
Yeah, it would make a difference where it would be. That's a straight-on highway.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, 75 is already a very lethal speed.
And it's a suggested speed. Trust me.
Right, and 75 to a lot of people means 82.
Yes.
And I know people like that. I'm related to some. And so 80 would mean 90 to people. So that's what makes that relatively unsafe, although it is limited to that section of I-8 as an experiment.
There's another bill that would fund a state study on Trump derangement syndrome.
That's a task that would be assigned to the state health department, which already has their hands full regulating nursing homes, assisted living centers, regulating hospitals, running the Arizona State Hospital. It's not a good use of agency time. And by the way, it's not a diagnosable condition that has an ICD code. There's no way to do a study on something that doesn't exist as a diagnostic phenomenon.
Yeah, the idea that would get through the legislature is iffy. The idea that would get past the governor's desk is impossible to imagine. There's a bill regarding cameras in assisted living facilities.
I've been for this for a few years now. So Representative Wynn has been running this bill for a few years now that would allow residents of assisted living and skilled nursing facilities to say if their family members would like to put a camera in the common living area, not the bathroom or the bedrooms, but like in the kitchen, so that they could from time to time take a look and see what's going on in the house, make sure mom and dad are safe. This is a bill that would allow that to happen with consent of all the parties, and it keeps getting killed by lobbyists down there. So
why? Why is it getting killed?
They keep saying that it hurts people's dignity. That's the language that they use to kill these bills. I jump in on those bills because I'm like, you know what? Like the surveyors, the people from the state health department that come do these inspections, they're only there for a little bit. They're not there all the time. The real complaints, I saw it firsthand when I was in the health department. The real valuable complaints that we get would be from family members. And how do family members know? They have to visit, or if they had a camera, they could see that they weren't getting services in assisted living, and that could lead to corrections, and not just regulatory, but the family could say, hey, can you just come and help my mom a little bit more during this time period?
The makeup of the legislature this go-around, do you think it has a chance?
Yeah, I do think it has a chance. But there's some wily lobbyists who know how to kill things.
Okay.
I won't name names, but they know who they are.
Okay.
But I'm working the other side of that because here's what I mean by that bill. Like, there is nobody pushing that bill. There's no paid lobbyist helping Representative Wynn get this through.
And
so I like to jump in on those things where it's something good and some expensive person isn't working that side of it.
Yeah, it does make a difference. All right, before you go, we got a couple seconds here, but I want you to talk about RFK Jr., the changes to the childhood vaccine schedule by way of the CDC.
Yeah.
What's this all about? Are you concerned?
Real quick. No, I'm less concerned than I think most people in public health. And the reason is this, that the way Kennedy did it, is that it's not going to change how vaccines get paid for. So all these vaccines that were changed in the childhood schedule are still paid for in doctors' offices. And beyond that, clinicians are not going to listen to Secretary Kennedy. They're going to listen to the American Academy of Pediatrics, and those are the clinical decisions that they'll be making. So I really don't see that this is going to make a huge difference and change. We could do another show on the other things Kennedy might be doing.
But the informational aspect.
Catastrophic.
The informational aspect.
That's bad. The informational aspect part of it's bad. But in terms of structural vaccine accessibility, that's going to remain okay.
All right, Will Humble, Arizona Public Health Association, former state health director. Good to have you here.
My pleasure.
All right.
Beside State Route 90, about 12 miles from Mexico, is a monument to Fort Huachuca. Today, a high-tech training facility, but also a key outpost in Arizona history. Founded in 1877 as a temporary camp, Camp Huachuca protected miners, ranchers, and travelers against Apache attack. After Geronimo's surrender in 1886, the fort protected the border, and in 1915 supported General Blackjack Pershing's expedition against Pancho Villa. A statue at the fort celebrates black soldiers who served here first in 1892, then continuously since 1913, when the 10th Cavalry, nicknamed by Indians the Buffalo Soldiers, were sent here. In 1942, the 1st All-Black Division was stationed here. Fort Huachuca has a long and distinguished record of support for the people of Arizona.
Arizona PBS has a growing digital footprint. If you're looking to stay connected to your favorite public media station, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.
Advertisements using AI have been used to sell products and services online, sometimes tricking customers by altering products to make them appear to be better quality than they really are. To learn more about this and how best to recognize AI in ads, we welcome Joe Ducey. He's business and consumer specialist for the Better Business Bureau. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Ted, glad to be back.
AI being used to sell products and services online. How?
Yeah, it's really interesting because it could sell. We've had some problems involving products during Christmas that were sold this way. We've had celebrity issues that were caused by AI, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. But first, did you know that the BBB was actually formed because of deceptive advertising?
Yes.
In fact, you did know that.
I know I didn't. I'm assuming this makes sense.
That's true,
yes.
yeah. 1912, to combat widespread misleading advertising, restore public trust, and set ethical standards in the marketplace. A summary from AI.
Yes.
So there are some good things about AI. You're right.
Right, but what, give me an example of
Yeah.
some of the things you found where AI is saying it's X, but it's really Y.
Well, we're seeing, in the past, there's been celebrity scams, like endorsements, right? And in the past, they've had to, it's basically weight loss products or supplements that affect your brain or whatever it is. And they would say that Oprah or Dr. Oz or Sanjay Gupta supported it. And they were kind of tricky because they kind of pieced together things.
Right.
And then, Oprah would have to come out and say, oh, no, I don't endorse that thing. Now, they're able to take those images, and we're getting complaints about images that look like the person, and it just looks much better. It looks like it's actually the person talking. So that's a problem because those, it looks more real, right? And the Attorney General recently joined 34 other attorneys general in going after Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, for some of these issues, basically celebrities, but also weight loss products and things that are being sold, they say, deceptively. Now, they were concentrating on not listing some of the side effects and things, but they also talked about AI. And I took a look at one of the videos that they showed, but selling a weight loss product. And they had a woman, now here's the deal, 203 pounds she lost in 3 weeks. Right?
What?
Yeah. So that's, first of all, what you should be saying. What?
203 in 3 weeks?
3 weeks. So they show her, and she's going, and it's like going smaller and smaller and smaller. But it's so quick you can't see it. So that's what the problem with most of these things. You can't really see them. And so if you slowed it down, and some people did, take it frame by frame, you can see things that are just wrong. Fingernails that are on backwards.
Holy smoke.
Eyes that don't move properly. If you really want to get into it, there are ways to find that out.
And that's the celebrity endorsements and these sorts of things, human interaction. But as far as products, making the products look bigger, look smaller, look better, look shinier,
definitely.
That's all over the place.
It is all over the place. And those celebrities basically are selling the products.
Yes.
So but in fact, we had some complaints coming in around Christmas where there's this, if you watch YouTube, you've probably seen it, there's this cute little dog that looks actually pretty real. And if you look at the ad on there, the dog it has a little girl, and the dog kind of moves its head and kind of hugs the girl, and it says, for emotional support, right? Comes up like this, just moves in a way an animal might. Well, people get this thing, and it's nothing like it. So they're spending whatever amount of money is. I was going to read just a couple of these things quickly. The product people are receiving does not in any way come close to resembling what is in the ad. Saw television ads, Facebook ads, lifelike robotic dog that operated on AI actually received 2 useless toys worth about $5.
Oh my goodness.
So that's what they are, They're getting these things, they're making it look like it's this wonderful product. And in this case, it was this little yappy thing you put 2 AA batteries in. Now, here's the thing. $20 is what this thing went for.
Yeah.
So that's what I don't really like using too good to be true because it seems very trite. But in this case, that works so well.
Well,
too good to be true.
And that brings me to my next question, is Mr. BBB from 1912.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts? What's your advice, besides too good to be true, for folks who are online and thinking, oh, I wonder if I'm in AI country here?
Yeah, I think, it depends on how far you want to go. You want to go to that rabbit hole? Then there are things online that you can actually take that video, break it down into 300 segments, and see how actually that video looks. A lot of people don't want to do that. So what I would do is go to trusted sites. We see most of our complaints coming from social media. If it happens to be a celebrity endorsing something, maybe you go to their site to see if they're actually saying these things and it doesn't come from the advertising site. If it's too good, if you're spending $20, make some comparisons. What does a robotic dog actually cost? Look it up, find out. It's going to be hundreds of dollars if it's intuitive, not $20. Those are the kinds of things that I think people need to do, is find out beforehand and not just. So also, one more thing.
Yes.
Use a credit card if you have to buy something because you could fight it later. Some of these places, they tell you to wire money or to Venmo, which goes right into your bank account and that money's gone.
Gift cards, Bitcoin, these sorts of things, warning signs?
Yeah. With gift cards usually or what?
Yeah. Well, scammers saying that you have to pay for this through a gift card only.
Total.
Or Bitcoin only.
You never pay. If anybody says pay with a gift card, bad. Crypto's basically, they're using it as an investment scam, so I don't think enough people know about it. No, you don't do that as well. You don't do that either. I would use a credit card, and you have secured cards if you can't get a credit card. Use that instead of anything else, because that actually could fight later.
Last question.
Yeah.
Is this something that government needs to start looking at as far as regulations? Is it something that is barely controllable? Is it something that people, yes, buyer beware, but some buyers don't beware very well.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how well the internet is regulated right now. I don't know where that's going. You know, as a consumer advocate, yeah, I do think something needs to be done because I see so many people falling for this stuff. Even if it's $20, imagine, or $30 or $50 or $100, all these people spending that amount of money. It's just, it's bad, you know, and a lot more than that when it comes to other products.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that can't afford to even that. Just buying that kind of thing is a big gift for a lot of people.
It is, and it is. And I think one of the big problems is social media fees. That's it. Through Facebook, through Instagram, they're seeing these things there, and they don't know the website where they're going to. And if they'd actually looked at this doll, the name of it, which I'm not going to say, I wish I could. I ordered one, didn't get it. I was going to bring it out here. You got to invite me back.
All right.
They actually, if you looked it up, you see complaints all over. So that you need to check these things out. Go to bbb.org. Go to BBB Scam Tracker. Do you see? Put the name in. Oh my gosh, that's a scam. I'm not going to order that.
bbb.org, and you have a scam tracker on there?
BBB Scam Tracker, and also JoeKnowsBetter.com.
All right.
The place we have all our videos.
Very good. Joe Ducey, Better Business Bureau. Great stuff. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, definitely.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
When you want to be more inspired, Arizona PBS delivers unforgettable experiences in music, theater, and the arts, thanks to members like